You know, as soon as I hit record, now I'm thinking I should have had like some of your pieces from your YouTube and your TikTok up, because you have me dying as I'm watching you do SpongeBob and Charlie
Oh my
Brown, and I'm like,
god.
Jesus, that sounds so awesome.
Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh.
Maybe I'll edit that in as we go through. But anyway, this is Drink Clock Podcast. I have with me Annie Okuhara.
Yes, you got it.
Nice. And she's a sound designer for games and film. You're an artist. You're a percussionist. You do a bunch of different shit. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Cheers. Tell the listeners what awesome beer you're drinking.
Yeah, so I just poured it looks much better now, but I just poured this Kirin Ichiban. It is a Japanese import beer up there with like Asahi and Sapporo beers. They're all really good. But yeah, this and
I've heard of Ichiban. Is that like a really known brand, or
I
is
think
that
Kirin Ichiban is like, yeah, it's a huge like alcohol, but also just regular soft drink maker, I believe. Like kind of like Asahi. I was studying abroad in Japan like from January to May, and I think Kirin and Asahi kind of have their own like vending machines. Like they'll make all kinds of drinks. But yeah.
Oh, I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous. I'd love. I mean, I can't speak a lick of Japanese, but I would fucking love to visit Japan. I just love the culture, just all the technology, because they're so fucking. And of course, I want to fucking go to a conveyor belt sushi place, because I hear they're fucking legit.
I actually, in my like 4 or 5 months there, never went to one of those.
Come on.
Somehow,
Maybe
but
just because I'm a fat kid. You know?
there
Like,
was
the first
so
thing
many
I think of
things.
is that.
There was so many things that I everyone told me like, you got to do this, you got to do this, and I spent so long there and I didn't even do it. Like I didn't go to Tokyo Disney Sea, all these random places, but I hit most of it. I hit most of Tokyo. So
Well, as a fellow nerd, I wore this Legend of Zelda shirt for
oh,
you.
nice.
I felt like it was appropriate, since I'm sure we'll get into gaming. But let's hear a little bit about who Annie is, and where you got started in this whole crazy, like it's very unique what you do. So I definitely want to hit on that. But talk a little bit about your background and what got you kind of to where you are now.
Yeah, so well, my biggest inspiration is this guy Josh Harmon on Instagram and TikTok, basically any short form content social media platform, and he does, well, I should say I do exactly the same thing he does, which is Foley content and sound effects over games and media. And the thing about Josh Harmon is that I just loved his energy. He always smiles in his videos, and that's a thing that I do as well with like just anything in life. I'll usually go through it with a smile. But I
It's a
love
good
his
attitude to
content.
have.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's like fake it till you make it at least. Like it's just it's such fun content to make, and it's one of those things because I've been a percussionist for like upwards of 11 years now. It it makes me feel confident in what I do as a Foley artist, probably more so than someone who didn't have that kind of musical background. And not only that, but it also gives me access to all these different random pieces of shit like metal buckets and pans and pots and drumsticks. So I'm very privileged to have all that stuff set up for me in the percussion studio. I think I came back to California in May and I saw all that stuff and I was like, I think I'm gonna do this, like try and make content like this.
So that was pretty recent. You decided to do that. That's pretty cool. So, what's your primary instrument, or do you have a couple?
Well, I guess if I had to pick one, it would be marimba. For those of you who don't know, that's like a 8-foot long monster of a wooden instrument coming from Africa. But
Never heard of it before, but
you've maybe not heard of it before, but you have heard it before for sure.
oh yeah,
It's got this very rich timbre, and it's an absolutely beautiful instrument. And that's probably my main focus, and the one I've sunk the most hours into. But our conservatory percussion program like covers a whole range of percussion, like snare, auxiliary percussion, all these different things.
So I guess like my first question is like what got you into music? Like what was your inspiration in music? Because I feel like I've interviewed a million people that kind of got into the arts and music and stuff, and I feel like everybody they don't necessarily always have one point in their life where like this is what decided, but a lot of people do. So do you have a point like that I'm sure you were young?
Yeah. I remember the first instrument I picked up was a guitar, I believe. This was like in elementary school, probably. I hated it. I hated that shit. It mostly just because it hurt my fingers, but also because I think I just didn't fully grasp the big picture of being able to play an instrument. I just thought it was like a chore, going to lessons and stuff. But in I think fourth grade, I picked up the trumpet. That was my first introduction to like the concert band world of kind of classical music. And in I think like fifth grade, a year later, I switched to percussion. So it was very short bat with the trumpet, but yeah.
Poor trumpet, man.
Yeah,
never stood a chance.
No, it really did not. I can still play it, but not. I don't remember any kind of notes or fingerings on it. But yeah, that was fun. But the I think I didn't really get into music very heavily until high school when I joined marching band, and I joined the front ensemble, which is like a lot of people kind of forget about it, even though it's right at the front. But it's like all your mallet instruments and percussion instruments, synthesizers, things like that, and they just sit right up at the front. And that was what I did for like I think a year, and then I switched to drumline for 2 years. So all of that marching band time, I think, must have been hundreds of hours worth of just sinking myself into music and learning how to play an instrument and discipline myself into practicing and learning those things.
Yeah, it's a lot of like rhythm and movement and being able to kind of hold a beat and like, but also be able to do other shit. You're almost doing like five different things. When you're doing the marching band type stuff, it's not just like one thing. It's way more complex I feel like than people actually give it credit for.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like my marching band was pretty small. I think it was maybe 60, 80 people max. But the ones that are, people in high school are doing like competitive marching bands, and they're playing shows and they're not even getting paid to do it. I have mad respect for those people. But yeah, definitely doing a bunch of different things at once. That helped me a lot with what I'm doing today. Being able to multitask and just grab shit really quickly has been a huge advantage on all that. So
I feel like that's a staple thing with like artsy people, and like you pick up stuff very quickly from an artistic style. So like, when I was younger, I was artsy. And I'm not using that as like a bad term. That was just like I used to draw. So I did a lot. Like I would draw. I actually found some of my old drawings. My mom showed them to me. I'm like, Jesus Christ. But I would draw a lot of Dragon Ball Z. I was really into like the early form of like American anime. Like, cause anime's been around for fucking ever. But like in America, Dragon Ball Z was really kind of like that first step, I think, for us. And this was before I'm fucking old, man. This is before streaming. So like, yeah, it was on at 5:30 after school or something like that. Like that's the only time you could watch it.
Yeah.
So it was I would draw all the time, and I was always into music. So I played the guitar, and I was okay. I didn't practice. So like, if you're not going to practice, you're not going to get better. Recently, like 2 or 3 years ago, I bought an electric piano, and not like a cheapy one. It was like $300 or whatever. And I was trying to teach myself that, but like, I have so many hobbies between. Well, no, that's a lie. Between work, family, and the podcast, unless I just eat into whatever sleep I actually get, it would be difficult for me to really pour myself into an instrument, because I feel like, and I can always go. I have it. I can always go to it when I do have maybe more free time in the future. But that's something I always wanted to learn how to play the piano and the drums. I love the fucking drums. I'm
Yeah,
a beats
no,
guy.
it's such a good creative outlet. You just tire yourself out and rock out. No, I totally get that. Picking up a new instrument is so hard because it's not only free time that you need, it's consistent free time and scheduled free time. It's
Agreed.
hard, you know?
And there's no telling that you're going to be good at it
Yeah.
just because you practice a shitload. Like, I feel like with instruments, it's some people can play 13 instruments or whatever, they're just gifted. But I feel like instruments are almost like people, it's like there's some people you fucking hate and then there's some people you fucking love. And I feel like that's how an instrument is. It's like you pick it up and like, hey, look, you didn't spend long on the trumpet, right? You probably just weren't a fan of the fucking trumpet. I mean,
Yep.
You might have been good at it, but you also might have practiced at it and sucked at it. It's like, I feel like it's not a one size fit all thing. It's like you need to like find something and it's almost like a square in the square peg, and I'm not the biggest music person, so maybe that's more of a question for you. But have you felt that that's kind of the same? Has been the same for you at least?
Yeah, no, there's definitely some instruments that I see them. I'm like, I will break that if I touch that. That I'm not going anywhere. Mostly what I'm talking about is orchestral strings. I do not. I've never picked up a violin in my life. Do not plan to. I will break that shit. But I don't know if you know that video where it's like the girl's playing and then suddenly all the hairs on the violin just completely snap. I'm like, I feel like that would be me. Like just touching it would just completely destroy it. But yeah, no, I mean, I love the sound of it. I love listening to any type of instrument of orchestration. I think it's not only the sound of it, but also just knowing like how much skill is required to play those instruments. It makes me appreciate it so much more. But I stray a lot more towards wind instruments. I play trombone. That's been a fun little like side instrument to have. But
that's cool.
Yeah, so it's a good mix of creative outlets that I have for sure for music.
So I know we kind of touched on it, but can you explain to people, because you're a Foley artist, what is a fucking Foley artist? Because I had to Google it, but I'd prefer you to tell people what it is.
Honestly, I don't know how much more qualified I am to talk about it, but from what I've gathered, doing this for a couple months as a like makeshift kind of sort of, I mean, I guess I'm sort of professional now because I've recently picked up a gig to actually do this for money. But basically a Foley artist is someone
Good for you.
Oh, thank you. Someone who makes sound effects for any kind of screen, and usually it's movies and games, things like that. I believe Foley more refers to sounds that are made not digitally, like sounds that are made from rustling of paper or footsteps, things like that, as opposed to like space synths in a space game or like laser gun sounds. I think those are more sound effects is what you would label them. But yeah, Foley is a lot more performance based. It's like you are recording these sounds live. I'm lucky to do it where I'm self-sufficient. I record, edit, mix all my own videos. So I can do as many takes as I want. But in the professional world, you've got your Foley artist and they're not even wearing headphones. Like they don't know what they're doing sounds like. And then you've got the Foley mixer behind the glass and then they play it back and you see. But, those ones are, I'm assuming, a lot more high stakes and probably more pressure to get it right the first or second time and make those very quick adjustments on the fly. So it can be intense. It's very high stakes sometimes, I think.
Yeah, studio time is not cheap,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I'd imagine if the company themselves are the artists, they're charging the company that's making the video or video game by the hour, or who knows, by the minute if they're really good, right?
Yeah, yeah. Usually it's by the day, and it's not cheap.
Well, I mean, that's something to kind of look up to, though, right? I mean, you could start your own little fucking studio, and if it takes off. Now, What got you, so your inspiration was that guy? Is that what got you into doing this, or have you always kind of thought about doing it because it's something you enjoy?
Yeah, so Josh Harmon's content, it I guess that is basically what got me into it. Otherwise I wouldn't have known that that was a kind of content you could create where it's like part
I didn't
video
know.
recording and then part like, box of the video. I thought that was genius. And, I don't want to be a complete like mirror of him. I try to incorporate my own kind of content into there and, at least make it look different perspective wise. But I do credit him quite a bit in my videos. Like there's a lot of descriptions I have where it's like, channeling my inner Josh Harmon. Like it is no secret that he is kind of where I get a lot of my ideas from. But yeah, I mean I try to be creative and come up with my own sounds and have my own kind of voice and image in that sense.
Well, look, I mean, everything that we do at this point has been done for the most
You're
part.
so right.
So it's, I mean, look, I mean, if it wasn't for Joe Rogan, would there be a million podcasts? Maybe. But I mean, I think it does take people who are really good to then bring out that in other people. And it doesn't mean that you doing what he does is the same, you know? What do you think is like your angle on the Foley arts that you bring that's might be different than what he does?
Definitely one.
Hate to put you on the spot, but.
Definitely like the content itself that I'm dubbing over. Like I like to do anime. I love anime. It's always been a very big part of my life, and same thing with video games. I think I probably do more video games than he does, but yeah, definitely just making more content that is nostalgic to me is a big thing because, sounds and Foley in video games and movies are so good at bringing back memories. Get old games like Animal Crossing and like Legend of Zelda and Pokemon, all these little games, like you hear that sound, you're like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm 5 years old again. So that's one of my favorite things to get from comments and messages. It's like, oh my gosh, like my childhood. It feels so good.
So you don't have to tell me your actual age if you don't want to, but I'm guessing you're like mid to early 20s.
So yeah, I'm my age is like on my Instagram. I'm 21, so I'm like
okay. So you're
a
you're
baby.
A kid. You're a kid. You're
yeah,
like a kid.
yeah.
Can I tell you how old I am?
Sure, go for it.
This is my gray hair is a dead giveaway. When I played Pokemon, the original, red, blue, and then eventually yellow, which was the same fucking game, except there was like a little bit of a yellow in the background. We had Game Boys, which were fucking great. Okay, Game Boys were legit. However, if you wanted to play at night, there was no fucking backlight, so you had to buy this goddamn contraption that looked ridiculous. It was a giant magnifying glass with no LED. That shit didn't exist. It was like two fucking little light bulbs, and it was so ghetto. Like, looking back, I'm like, what the fuck? How did they not have backlights when they were thinking about the design of these screens?
That's so funny.
And there was no color. It was just black and white. Because Color Game Boy came out a little bit later, and you still had the fucking giant contraptions. And, of course, all my friends, like, I don't know what it is about men and cheating. And I'm going to be stereotypical about this. Little kids always want to cheat in video games. And I don't know why. It never, when I was younger, I'm like, no. It was called Game Genie, okay? It was a game-breaking fucking thing. You plug the Game Genie into the Game Boy, you plug the game into the Game Genie, and they had this textbook of cheats
that
you could plug in. And... all my friends would be like, yeah, let's get, what Pokemon was it? Was it Ditto, I think. Was it Ditto? That wasn't in the game originally, but you could he was added in through cheats. I don't know. It was just, and I used to work at GameStop for many years, and I helped kids, and I did it when I was your age and younger. I started working at GameStop probably when I was 17, and we would help kids, and they're 6, 7 years old, and all they want to do is cheat. I don't know what it is. It's not females. It's
so
almost
funny.
never
That's
women.
so funny.
It drives me insane. I'm like, okay, just fucking sit down and play the game, okay? Don't fucking cheat. There's no reason to cheat. It defeats the purpose of playing the game.
I do remember when I was growing up in like the early 2000s. So
I was in high school.
So I think
Keep going. Sorry.
that was around the time when the Game Boy was fading. The Game Boy Advance was fading out of existence. But there was I do still have my Game Boy Advance. It has a backlit screen, but yeah, I think the oldest Pokemon game I ever played was Fire Red. That was like it's still one of my favorite Pokemon games and one of my favorite game soundtracks, even though it's this fucking like 8-bit like symphony of MIDI instruments, but yeah.
I'll tell you my all-time favorite mobile like Game Boy game, and I'm not the biggest Legend of Zelda fan, and don't let this shirt fool you. I haven't played any of the new ones on Switch. I'm not into that
Fake fan.
I don't know, man. Like it's too big for me. Zelda for me was like you're roaming around, you don't have body parts. You're this little blob with a sword sticking out. Like that was mine. But my favorite game, like Game Boy wise, was probably Legends of Zelda. It was I think Ocarina of Time. Was it not Ocarina? I think it was Seasons and Ages.
Oh, okay,
there were two different versions, and it was so good. They had a different ending, each of them. But Ages, it like took you back in time and forward, and you could go through portals. It was a really good. If you're listening to this, or I'm sure you could get a fucking ROM at this point on your PC. But look it up. I think it's Seasons and Ages was what I played. It was really fucking good. And that's probably the last time I completed a Zelda game. Outside, because I was after, like everyone at that point has played Ocarina of Time. I mean, that's like a fucking classic.
Yeah.
Please tell me you've played that at least.
I've not really played many Legend of Zelda games outside of the recent ones, so I think we're kind of flip-flopped here. Somehow
So you get a thumbs down.
Yeah, no,
okay?
I really get the bigger thumbs down. Somehow I didn't grow up with Legend of Zelda. I don't know why it missed my radar, but I think until like Breath of the Wild and like Link's Awakening kind of games, I really didn't have much exposure to this game. I'm not sure why. Most of my game series that I was into was like kind of like farming-esque games like Animal Crossing and
that game's fucking addictive.
I was just playing it for like 2 hours. I restarted my island. Dude, I have 500 hours in it already. It's insane. No, that game is great. But yeah,
you can yell at me. I have the most recent one on Switch. I played it for like 10 minutes and I haven't played it since. And I'll tell you why. It's because I got a Steam Deck. Best fucking purchase I've ever made in my life.
Really? Interesting. I've heard so many mixed things about the Steam Deck.
Fucking love it. Like, look, it's not perfect, but it can play a lot of fucking shit. And like I travel 4 or 5 times a year. So at least. And having that on a plane, I mean, there's nothing you could play in your lap outside of having a laptop, which you know how it is with a laptop, especially if you're flying. I mean, you got the little flimsy fucking table. If you're in a middle seat, you got 2 fat people to the left and the right. You're like elbows in. It's not, but like having that, fucking love it. I play it. Me and my fiance play it every day. Like we play a lot of board games together because we have like drinking games built around them, so it's kind of like our off time. But then like I have a Switch. We'll play like we love Mario Party, Mario Kart. Those are probably and Monopoly. We'll play some Monopoly. But we keep it to like chill like board games and shit, so we can like relax, have it up on the TV because I have docks for fucking everything.
That's awesome.
I'm telling you, a Steam Deck. If you're into like I saw you play Monster Hunter, so are you into like Demon Souls type games?
So I haven't played any Demon Souls. I think I might have like tried Elden Ring on my friend's like PS5 once. But yeah, for someone, it's kind of funny. I always say this, like for someone who works in video games, I'm pretty fucking bad at them. like it's kind of comical. Like I have this thing that I say where it's like I have this special talent of soft locking myself in any game I can find. I will play the most perfectly like fixed, no bugs, perfect game, and just find a way to like just
Fuck it up.
freeze it, fuck it up, get myself trapped in some no clip area, and completely derail the quest line or whatever is happening. So, yeah, I actually have not. I have not tried the Demon Souls series, but I've heard many good things about it. I just don't know if I would be good at it.
I'm fucking terrible at it. So I bought Elden Ring. I don't know why. I went off of. I think I bought it because a friend was like, "Dude, you gotta play it." Blah blah blah. And I've mentioned this before, but in a past podcast. But my first experience, and this is what basically caused me to play it for an hour and stop. I walk out, and there's when you play these games, other players in like multiplayer, you see ghosts. They can leave notes. So I walk up. There's a note that says, "Jump here right away," or ASAP. And I'm like, oh, I got to trust this person. They probably know what they're talking about. I jumped, died instantly. So they were just being a fucking cunt, okay? They were being a total cockbag, and I died, so I'm like, done. I haven't played it since. But
That's
you can play it
awesome.
on the Steam Deck. It is mobile on the Steam Deck, and it looks really good. Harry Potter is on the Steam Deck. You could play.
That new one that's like $70.
It's just they're all fucking 70 now.
It's insane. I want to kill myself. Like, it's so bad.
You got to be rich to buy 2 games now. You know, it's like, look, I'm a simple bitch. Okay, I play Valorant, and I probably shouldn't because it's the most fucking toxic game on the planet. Everybody is an asshole. Like, picture like the most misogynistic, racist, like 12-year-old boy you could find. You're gonna find it immediately in Valorant. It's so toxic.
Oh my god!
I feel bad for women that play it because the moment
That's
a
why I
girl
don't.
talks,
Even if I do play shit like that in voice chat, no chance in hell not joining that shit.
I was playing the other day, and I'm playing with a girl. We don't know it's a girl. She's just using text chat, and she told me to go fuck myself. I made a bad play. She's like, go fuck yourself. I'm like, what the? One, I was expecting to be a woman, but come on, man, I'm an advocate. Do you want me to be one of the 12-year-olds that tells you to do, like, you know, like, come on. Like, what the fuck? I didn't say a single thing the whole game, and go fuck yourself. Like, what? What is wrong? Why are people so toxic?
I don't know. You know, it really is just fascinating, like, how nasty people can be, especially in just FPS games. I'm not sure why it's always FPS games, but yeah, I think it's.
Well, you're a
part of the
content
fun for
creator.
people.
Oh, it's absurd. Well, you're a content creator. I mean, I'm sure you get like fucked up comments, fucked up messages. I mean, that's just the nature of the guy. I get them from this fucking podcast, and I don't understand. Like, I don't do anything out of the ordinary, you know.
Yeah.
But I'd imagine that you got to get some too, especially as being a female in the industry. I could not. I'm so happy I'm a man. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm so happy.
No, you should be. But yeah, I mean, it's so fun being a double minority of being like not white and not a male, but you know, luckily
I couldn't imagine, man. I got the utmost respect for you because the internet is a brutal fucking place.
it can be. Luckily, you know, I haven't really gotten too many like nasty comments. If they are like mean, it's usually just about like the content, like, oh, like you didn't match this sound up, or like, oh, that doesn't sound like this, or it's like okay, cool. I didn't make the
They're
original
nitpicking.
sound. Cool. Yeah, it's like you do this, like, but yeah, I think sometimes I will get comments saying, I think like the most common one is like, this is fake, like I'm not actually making the sounds that I am. I'm like,
you can literally watch you making the sounds. That makes no sense.
Like I'm recording it for. I'm confused. Like, but that's probably okay. That is maybe the worst one, but that's also the best one because it's like, isn't that such a compliment? Like saying they think it's so good that it's fake. So
your French fry one threw me for a loop, man. We're doing the French fries, and you're like you're making the noise when they're scraping. I'm like, that sounds so fucking legit.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Like, how do you come up with that shit? Like, how do you figure out what you're gonna fucking use for that sound? I gotta know.
You know, it's Honestly, kind of exactly what you would think. So sometimes I'll post pictures of my Foley studio, and by Foley studio, I don't mean my chair and my drum with the red towels. I'm talking about
Yeah.
like the table that's off screen, like 2 inches off screen, that is just littered with junk. Like it has like receipts and buckets and like wine glasses and ramen packages, all this random shit. And I look at it, and sometimes I kind of like organization. I like things to be clean. And I look at it, and I'm like, oh, I should maybe organize this and clean this. But then I realize if I do that, then I'm not going to be able to see everything and think, like, okay, I need like a wood sound. Where's something wooden? Okay, I'm just going to grab this, put it up to the mic, put my headphones on, like, play with it, try and find a good sound. If not, do something else. But yeah, that studio. I think it was Joanna Fang who said it. She's the Foley artist for God of War Ragnarok, and I think she said like never trust someone with a clean Foley studio. I think that was her who said it, but I might be wrong. But yeah, no, it's so true though. Like you have to have a mess. You have to be able to see everything in order to do that kind of thing quickly and efficiently, because from beginning to end, my like from conceptualization to finish editing and posting, it probably takes about 2-3 hours. So
That's pretty good. I thought you
yeah,
were gonna say a lot longer.
yeah. I mean, it definitely took longer when I started making. The first videos I made were like a full like 2 minutes of uncut, um, like unedited sounds and performance, and that one took like 4 or 5 hours just because it's like a proper like performance that I'm like rehearsing and practicing. But recently I realized, okay, I'm making short form content. People want stuff that's like 30 seconds, so that kind of makes my job easier.
Hey all you guys and ghouls, it's your ghostess with the mostest, Amber Brooke here, and I just want to tell you a little about Terror Tuesday. Well, Terror Tuesday is an Instagram live show where I talk about horror, conspiracy theories, serial killers, supernatural stuff, and so much more. And I discuss it with some super special horror-loving guests. So if you like blood, gore, spooky, scary stuff with a hint of comedy, Terror Tuesday is for you. You can tune in on my channel, amber.brook32, to catch one. Tune in, or else. Relax, I can't see, but it's just ketchup. Nope, that's blood.
I learned that the hard way. Like when I first started doing this podcast, I would post the full episode on YouTube, and you get like 5 views.
Yeah.
But if I post a 45-second clip, that's where I'll get a couple thousand views without really doing much. And look, I do all my own editing, and it's it's rewarding, but it's also like it's not easy to like. I'm a perfectionist, so it's not easy to. And I'd imagine it's going to be 10 times harder for you because your shit has to be like spot on.
I do probably a dozen at least takes of every video that I do. Rarely do I do less than like 10. It's very yeah, I am definitely my own worst critic in that regard.
I think we all are, and I think that's what makes it good content. Is that like what you want or what you'd expect, but it is tough in today's world where it's like everything's instant gratification. Like nobody wants the 30-minute thing. They want the quick hit, like give me the key, 20-second moments.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So I think that change, like as a content creator, it does change how you approach shit almost.
Yeah, and there's a lot of content and like anime that I like that I really want to do Foley for and like make videos for. I just know it's not worth posting because it's going to get like 10 views because it's just some random like everyday scene versus something like SpongeBob, which I mean I grew up on SpongeBob, but like that probably wouldn't be my first choice of content to make, but it's so easy. Also, another thing I noticed is that people love food. They love the food content, so it's like, okay, Krabby Patty, that's like the staple like childhood food, so I guess I'll do that. And surprise, surprise, it did so well. the best video on my page.
So yeah, so you were talking about recently going viral. Was that the video that went viral for you?
Yeah, it was funny. I think I posted that like early July, like first week of July, and it didn't start gaining traction until the end of July. I think when I posted it the first time, it got just over like 100,000 views, which was really good at the time for me. That was like most than I've
That's
had
great.
before. Yeah, and I kind of made other content, did other things for a while, and then I look back at it, and it's climbing. Like it's getting like close to like 100 views like a minute every time I'm refreshing it, and then that kind of grew to like close to like 80,000 views a day, and eventually
Holy shit.
yeah, no, it was insane. I was watching these numbers climb. I'm like, where are these people coming from? Like, and I found out it's really funny. They came from Facebook. Like they didn't come from Instagram. They came from Facebook Reels, and my reel was never posted to Facebook. It was just shared via Facebook, and people had to like they had to log into Instagram in order to actually comment or I think share the post, which is why there's only like 13 comments on it or something. It's very like minimal proportional to the amount of views it has, but that's just because like people aren't going to bother like switching over to Instagram just to comment on it. But yeah, weirdly, I didn't realize Facebook Reels was even a thing like before that. But now
That's
I know.
wild. I never would have thought. And so here's my thing. I recently started using Instagram. I don't really like Instagram. I'm a Twitter guy. So like
Okay.
I use Twitter for everything. But mainly because I like sports, and that's where I get all my sports news. I hate Facebook. I feel like it's just like you don't have to worry about it as much right now, but message me in 15 years when it's like all your friends are either having kids, getting married, or dying.
Oh
Okay,
my
those are your three things, and
things.
it's like
Okay.
it gets to the point where you're like, all right, I don't want to see this, and it's all people that you're like, that person's not happy. They're just posting that shit to brag, but we know that you're not happy with your life. Okay,
But deep down,
like,
you're just so jealous. Like,
yeah, I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah.
You're in, fucking San Diego, and I'm over here in shit ass Philadelphia, and it's cold as fuck. But yeah, that's weird. I never really thought about that. Where I guess it could be shared somewhere else, and the views could also kind of be organically brought in from somewhere else. Because I know YouTube's good with that, because they fucking own, Google owns everything, so it's like, you could find your shit wherever. But I guess that makes sense for Instagram, Facebook, all that shit.
yeah, I did not realize like how easy it is to go viral before kind of starting this, because I was a private account like in beginning of June, which is wild to think about, because I think I started posting my content like as a private account. I would just post it for my friends, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And so I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll like make my account public and see what happens. And then if you just keep up with like a consistent routine, apparently the algorithm likes you. And the algorithm is something it's just an enigma I've been trying to figure out to no avail at all. But
I feel like
weird.
the only people that have is like Mr. Beast.
Yeah, and he doesn't even have to worry about it. Like once he's figured out, it's like you can just post whatever you want, and people will eat that shit up. So.
And I wonder, like, so did you make if you don't mind me asking, did you make any money from the video, or like when's it get to the point where you actually make something out of it?
So I've made money not really on like view count, but on gifts. So donations, if you will. Instagram did have kind of a like pay-per-view monetization system like YouTube and TikTok does at one point. However, they paused it, and they're like, we're gonna like evolve this program and make it better, but that means no one's getting paid for Instagram Reels right now. I think Facebook Reels does get paid, but it's like you have to set up like a Facebook page and all that. It's like, no, I'm not really gonna bother with that. But yeah, this was all before like they paused the monetization before I started making the content, so it was never like a loss to me. But I do get some donations from Instagram gifts, which is like exactly what you'd think it is. It's like they can donate a certain amount of like points or something, and then those points translate to like cents and stuff. So it's not a lot, for sure, but I mean,
Something.
it's something. Like it's you know, not a lot of people can say that they've made money from social media. So I'm very grateful for that people like would donate to something like me making fucking sounds over a Krabby Patty.
Yeah, I mean, look, before I did the podcast, I was streaming games. That's kind of like what got me into this, and I wasn't making a lot. I was probably making like $150 a month streaming on Twitch.
That's not bad. That's pretty good.
I mean, like I'd have a steady like 10, 15 people watching, and it's like I'm doing what I would normally do. I gotta wear a shirt and put up my green screen.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, it's just the problem is like when you're doing streaming like that, it's a little different than what you're doing, because like the streaming, it's like everyone always wants you to do dumb shit. It's kids. It's like, and you don't control your content to a certain degree where, if I said something stupid, I'm getting banned, and then how long am I getting banned for? So if I'm making money, and that's how I make money, at least with the podcast, like I could say whatever the fuck I want. Like I own this. There's not a single piece of this that doesn't have me in it. And I also look at it like this is my place where I can say what I want, but my guests can feel safe to say what they want.
Yeah.
And, look, not everybody's... I don't like the whole PC thing. I like, I don't want you to be blatantly fucking racist and shit like some fucking people are. But I do want you to be able to be able to speak your opinion and not have people like in my day, God, I never thought I would say that. I never thought, you know what? Fuck you, okay?
When I was
older, you're gonna say it too. But I never thought I would say that. But when I was younger, you could say something that was not racist, but you could say something, and if it wasn't the common opinion, and you're able to talk to somebody about it, you could have a conversation. You can't do that anymore.
Yeah,
and that's like a lost art. I don't know. I guess I just feel like if more people had conversations than just, telling you should be a vegan and be like, well, there's no other way. Be a vegan. When it's like, okay, come on, man. There's other way. No, you got to be a vegan. You're an awful person if you're not a vegan. We got to have an opinion, and you got to be able to understand other people's opinions. I don't give a fuck what people do in their life. It's their life. It has no effect on me. I could care less. But I do think that people should be able to talk about it without people canceling them,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Cancel culture that's a heated topic for sure. Especially just with the short form content, it's so easy to cancel someone. Just especially if people don't really know them, just take a 5-second clip of them saying something out of context, and it's dangerous, but that's kind of the contract we sign of being online and leaving a digital footprint. Yeah. I guess we got to be careful with what we say, especially today.
The world we live in, right?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so I need you to hit me with a couple things before we get out of here. What is your top 3 favorite games?
Ooh, definitely one of them is Monster Hunter Rise. That is a Switch game recently ported to PC, and man, it is probably my favorite JRPG kind of hack and slash game. It's essentially a very cookie cutter installment of the Monster Hunter series, where it's just you do quests, you slay the monster, you upgrade your weapons, you go off and do the next quest. But something about it is just so comforting, and the soundtrack is just phenomenal. It's stellar. It's one of the only video game soundtracks I regularly listen to, which is kind of funny since I'm a music major and whatever, but I really don't pay attention much to media soundtracks. I mean, obviously I pay more attention to Foley and sound effects, but I was never really one to get attached to soundtracks, but that soundtrack has got me in a chokehold.
I tried to get into Monster Hunter. I just can't do it. My friends were big into it when it came out on the Switch, and I think I played it I want to say I played it on the PSP or something. I forget when the fuck I played it, and I put a couple hours. I like a decent amount of time. It wasn't me. Like that wasn't just my. I don't know. I can't get into the constantly rolling around with a sword that's like 10 feet long, trying to hit a dinosaur that's like bigger than my fucking screen.
That's my shit. That is my favorite part. It's just like taking out these enormous bosses, but. Yeah.
It is nice though when you kill them, because then you're like, you're becoming my fucking boots now, bitch. Okay.
You are my next fucking helmet.
You are my steel tipped. You're my bone tipped
awesome.
toe.
That's basically a good summary of why I love that game. But yeah. So Monster Hunter, also Monster Hunter World is a good one, but probably Monster Hunter Rise is my favorite. But other games, I've recently liked I don't know if this counts as one, but like the genre of like Animal Crossing, Stardew Valley kind of games where it's just like farming, and it's essentially just therapy. Like this idea of having like a routine and like chores to do, and just a very peaceful kind of game where there's not any fighting. So I guess complete opposite of Monster Hunter, but it's
how is Stardew Valley? Because I've always thought about picking that. It's it's what, $10. It's not like an expensive game, but it's a time killer, isn't it?
It is a time killer. I don't have as many hours on it as I do on Animal Crossing. I think I have just over 100 hours on Stardew and like 500 on Animal Crossing. But Stardew, it certainly is a time sink. It's also, I think, the thing that a lot of people get drawn away from Stardew is because it's hard to learn. It has a learning curve, and it's not very good at teaching you the game when you're first playing it. There's no I don't think there's really a tutorial at all. However, during kind of quarantine years like 2021, I was doing college online from home, and I had this friend who during 2020 they had sunk their entire summer into Stardew Valley and learning it and figuring it out. So they taught me how to play it, and after that, it was all over. Because I had tried it once before that, and I was like, oh, I don't really know what to do. But then once I learned how to play it, I was like, this is great. Like, it's just so simple and easy to play once you know how to play it, and it's just therapeutic. So
it's like a little more complex than Animal Crossing, so to say.
Yeah, there's a lot of like Easter eggs and little tricks and nuances to it that is definitely like I was playing through Animal Crossing, and because I restarted my island, so it was reteaching me everything. I'm like, I already know, like, it wouldn't even like a 5-year-old know this already. Like, press Y to pick up the item. Like, I don't care. Like, it doesn't need like 5.
I just need my fucking bells, man. Like, I need my bells.
I don't need to learn how to like cast a fishing line with the A button. Like, yeah, but definitely Stardew is a learning curve, but I think it's so worth it, especially if you have someone to teach you and walk you through it on a co-op world.
So you need like a Jedi master to Padawan you through Stardew Valley. All right.
Yeah.
All right. I see it. See, now that could be some content right there.
It could. I really should consider that now that I'm thinking about it. Doing like Animal Crossing. Actually, I think I did one Animal Crossing video, but that was like before things kind of took off. So maybe I'll do that again.
Well, there you go. Look, ideas. That's what I'm here for. All right. So if you had to give me your favorite style of music, or you know what, I don't know if you can give me, because if I would say give me like your favorite artists, you're gonna tell me people that I probably don't fucking know because it's like classically.
I could. I also do have a fair amount of like. I mean, the music I listen to in my car isn't like classical music. It's like bedroom producers, like pop producers, and like I don't know if you're familiar with the label 88 Rising. That's a really good group of Asian American like singer-songwriters. I love those guys. But
I've never listened to it. I'm telling you this is recent. My fiance decided that, so like I like to sleep with the TV on because I just like the light. I don't like it completely dark. But we recently started listening to technically a podcast, but and this might be in your wheelhouse. Here, I'll give you another idea. They make sleep music. So it's like soothing, calming, like sounds with like, I don't want to say it's like elevator style music.
Is it like ASMR?
No. There's no like sounds like that. I mean, there is to a certain degree, like they'll be playing like very slight music, but then you might hear like raindrops in the background. I'm telling you, this could be like right up your fucking alley. But that's what we listen to go to sleep, and we'll listen to it. I'll put like 9 on every night to go to sleep, because it's like each episode's an hour long of that. And there's not different variations. It's like kind of, I don't want to say it's on a loop, but it's pretty good, and it's like soothing. Like it helps. It does a good job of like helping you sleep, because like you're not really thinking about anything. You're kind of just listening to that, and it almost like it like slows you down a little bit. But it's pretty good. I mean, look, I have trouble sleeping in general. I don't know what it is. I can't get like a full night's sleep anymore. Unless I like don't get any sleep for like 2 days, and then like the third day I'm like fucking out. Like I'll sleep for like 10 hours, fine, you know. But it's, you know, I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but
yeah.
Give me your top 3 like semi-mainstream people, like your car music that you listen to.
Okay, one of them is a recent one. My friend recently got me into this K-pop group called ATEEZ, which they make bangers. We're talking like really high level, like you know, multi-million production value content. And yeah, these producers are like off the charts good. That's one of the recent ones. I don't usually listen to K-pop, but I do love ATEEZ. I think their producers are insane.
I've never really listened to K-pop. I mean, I know like there's a lot of people really into it. But I'm not like, I'm one of those people, I could listen to anything. Like I can listen to country, rap, rock. Like I don't really have like a set like music structure, because I like everything. I mean, country I've grown into as I've gotten older. It's not like it, you know, damn fucking fly, man. It's like, look, if you're a fly, if I was a fly, would I fly like in the face of the one thing in the whole room that could fucking murder me?
I saw this I saw this tweet that was like, God, flies be going into rooms and flying around and pretending they can't get out. Like, grow the fuck up. It's like, yep.
It's the same thing with the birds. You're driving your car and the birds swoop down. It's like they're just tempting themselves. Yeah, it's like tempting themselves. It's like, go fly somewhere. You got plenty space. What's it doing in front of my car? That makes that a good idea. Anyway, sorry, I went on a tangent. K-pop, hit me.
Yeah, K-pop.
Who are some others?
Some others, not on my top 3, but other ones. One of my friends that I met in Japan got me into Girls' Generation is a good one. And another one is EXO is also very good. So those are all like ones that you can blast on the radio and just like crank it with the windows down. That was definitely one of the things I missed most when I was in Japan, was driving with the windows down and just cranking music. That is certainly a vibe of its own. So I was very happy to come back.
What's it like in like driving down a highway in Japan? Like, it's gotta be pretty fucking cool.
So I never really rode in cars. I mean, I didn't have a car to drive. I would just take public transportation everywhere. So I think we went in like a taxi at like after a 5 a.m. clubbing session. But yeah, it was pretty tame. I will say the drivers there are they're really, really good drivers. They're so phenomenal at not hitting things and getting to these really narrow spaces. Like a lot of the times you'll have like just an alleyway and there'll be just a car going down the alleyway, and I'm like how did there's no sign indicating this is a one-way street, so you just gotta hope that 2 cars don't like just decide to go down the same one. But yeah, these drivers are I bottom line, I would never drive in Japan. I think it's just they must learn
Honestly,
a different
I didn't really
driving
think that they drove. Like, I just assumed that like they bike almost everywhere. 'Cause
There are a
I
lot
feel
of
like
bikers.
it's got to be pretty congested to a certain degree, and like the main portions of the, at least like when you see shit, not necessarily on TV, but you know when you see those different things as you're going through, like anytime they show it, it's like you see 100 people walking. It's almost like New York, like style congested.
Yeah, it's insane. I don't know how they like how those crosswalks function, but they do, and they do it day in day out. And those, I think the areas with big congestion like that of human kind of congestion is it's definitely harder to use a car, but I think out in the countryside it's probably a lot more common to have a car.
We just watched we love murder documentaries, and we just watched a pretty good, like it was a serial killer documentary, and I want to say it was Hulu. But basically it was in Japan, and there was a British girl that got kidnapped. She was a hostess. So I think in Japan, like a hostess is kind of like a party. They're like a party person basically for like older gentlemen in some of these like certain areas.
Yeah,
and like they get paid. Yeah, they get paid like fucking ball, like because it's like a bunch of rich people. You know?
There's a reason they do it, I guess.
But apparently, there was this guy that's been like literally. He was I forget what they say. He like inherited a bunch of money. He was really rich, but he was like going through and he was like fucking. He would rape the girls and they'd survive, but they wouldn't remember because he'd hit them with some drug. I forget what drug it was. And then, but the one girl, the British girl, she died because of the chemical he used, and that's what they ended up getting him for. They got him for one murder or something like that, but really it was like you're watching this and the police chiefs they call them something different in Japan. Like a deputy director or assistant director or something
like that.
Yeah, and they're talking like it is the most disgusting and foul thing we've ever seen in our lives because he kept videos of everything.
That's like, insane.
What is wrong with people, man?
Yeah, no, like the shit that goes down in Japan, definitely, it's definitely not as common as maybe the West, but it's no less fucked up. Like, yeah, if you go to like Japan, you see all these 18 plus material, just out in the storefront, like out in the convenience store. Where like little kids can see it and stuff. I know they had like underwear vending machines. Like it's like it's just, I think it's just as like kind of fucked up as it is out here, except there it's just more acceptable for it to be public for some reason. So it's just, I don't know, it's interesting. And there's some people that are like, they think that makes it better because it's less desensitized, so people aren't as likely to like commit crimes and do that to people. But yeah, it's I think it's still just kind of like, why did we do that?
Yeah, the underwear vending machines would throw me for a loop, but I do think that like some of it, like the sexual stuff, I think that like we as a country, if we weren't like, we're so eager to be like, oh yeah, killing is fine, yeah, having a gun, but seeing a boob is, it's like the end of the world. Yeah. It's like something that you could do naturally is something somehow so much worse than like, a fucking giant AK-47, which in my opinion, that makes no fucking sense. Yeah. The underwear vending machines though, I'd have some questions about that.
Luckily, I never saw one of those, but I know they do exist. So I'm like,
And like the bath water vending machine. Like I've seen some pretty
girl bath. Oh my god.
I've seen some crazy shit.
I've seen that on eBay the other day. I was like, there's no way. I thought this was a joke. Like
there was the one chick, she was selling her farts and she made like what, like $200,000 or something crazy, but then she had to be like, she had to be hospitalized because she had so much gas, and it was like fucking her like whole system up. Like I'm not even shitting you.
That's so funny.
You gotta remember, guys are stupid and they'll do just dumb foul shit, which makes no sense.
That's so funny.
Like, you know what? That's what I need to do. The next person I need to interview, it's whoever bought a fart from a girl, and I need to.
What was your experience?
Why? Just tell me. Just tell me
Please, why?
Just a fart from anyone. It doesn't have to be from a girl, but like, why would you buy a fart, man? Like, it makes no sense. I digress. Every time I don't know. I don't know why I got into that. Maybe it was from the fucking underwear vending machines. But listen, it was a lot of fun having you on. Can you tell everybody where they can find your content? So if they want to check you out, they can do that.
Yes. So my content, all my handles, I believe, are at Annie Okuhara. That is Annie, like the musical Annie, and Okuhara, Okuhara. And yeah, I'm on most short form platforms now. I'm on like Instagram is my main platform probably. On YouTube, been gathering like a couple like tens of thousands of views there, which is nice. And then I am on TikTok too, which is probably my least used one. But yeah, all of those I post just about the same content to all of them. So if you follow one of them or all of them, you'll get the whole experience. Yeah, but thanks for having me. That was fun. It's a good time.
Absolutely. And tell me before we leave, what is next for Annie? Well, what's on the near future for you? Whether it's your content or life, what's going on next?
Next, I'm definitely gonna keep going with this whole video thing. I didn't think I'd do it past like summer, but summer's coming to an end, and I have the option of either leaving this as is and kind of pursuing a more like beaten path career thing of like networking and talking to people and getting gigs and things like that. Or I can, take some time and actually keep developing this. And I think that's what I'm going to do. I just want to see where it goes. If 1 million is the most I'll ever hit, then so be it. Like, I think the more content I have up, the better. In terms of
fuck that, man. Yeah. Hit 10 million.
Hit 10 million. We'll see. That. I didn't think 1 million would be possible in that short amount of time, but here we are. So maybe I don't know. The internet works wonders.
It's a wild fucking West, isn't it?
It is so crazy. Like this idea that there's this actual real algorithm that no one knows about. Like we're all just guessing. We're all just kind of giving each other advice like, oh, like post daily, like, use these hashtags. Like no one actually knows for certain, like what is this algorithm? It's so weird. So that's been probably the scariest part of all this, but also the most like interesting, I guess.
Well, look, man, you just keep doing you. You're young, fucking pursue it. What's going to happen? You pivot if you need to, and you have a lot of really cool accolades. I mean, you're going to be a bachelor for, the arts and music technology. Yeah. You got a lot of really cool stuff going for you. So I appreciate people that work hard and, you're doing what you want to do. And that's important. Don't just fucking pursue the normal shit. You don't want to work in an office. It blows. Okay. Since working in an office for 8 years, I've gained 70 pounds because I don't fucking move. Don't work in an office. It sucks. I mean, look, I love my job because I love the people I work with, but work in the office, yeah, you have Saturdays, Sundays off, but you just fucking eat, you don't move, you're sedentary. I mean, it's just, go out in the fucking world and do fun shit, okay? Why you can't.
That's the dream, honestly. Like, I think my only motivation to make money right now is to just be able to, like, travel and do all this fun stuff, so.
Traveling's a beautiful thing. You keep doing it. This will be up in a little bit. You can find my podcast basically anywhere. I post on every fucking possible thing you could think of. I got to get better with the videos. Hopefully have the long form content up, and then I'll be posting short clips, and I'll tag in shit, man. So it'll be fun. Yeah. Hopefully, you get bored, you want to come back on at some point when you have some free time. We'll get you back on.
Yeah, cool. Thanks.
Awesome. Well, look, it was a fun night, and look. Stay classy, have fun out there, and I'll be watching your videos. They were awesome.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah.
Thanks, Annie. You have a good one.
Thanks. Later.